Hey, family. Hey, welcome back to Embrace and Evolve with Cassie. It is cold outside, y'all, and I hope everyone is safe and warm. But today, this season, we're talking about relationships, but more importantly, we're talking about you inside of those relationships. If you new here, welcome. And please subscribe to my channel so you wouldn't miss an episode. This podcast is to help you embrace where you are and evolve in it. Now, last episode 2, we discussed healing before dating again. I got a lot of feedback on that. Thank you so much. And doing the inner work so we don't carry old wounds into new connections. So today's conversation is a continuation of that work. This episode is called Red Flags versus Trauma Responses, because not everything that feels uncomfortable is a red flag. Hear me out. And not everything that triggers you is toxic. Sometimes what we're reacting to isn't the person in front of us, it's the pain behind us. The term red flag gets used a lot these days, especially on social media. As you see on social media, some people use the red flag emoji when making a comment, opinion like red flags. Listen, and don't get me wrong, real red flags exist like manipulation, dishonesty, disrespect, emotional unavailability, abuse, and so on and so on. But there's another side we don't talk about enough. Sometimes our, let's say, nervous system is reacting to familiar pain, but not present danger. Sometimes our body is remembering something our mind hasn't fully processed yet. If we don't do the inner work, we can end up labeling everything as a red flag. I mean, everything, when really it's trauma response asking to be acknowledged. Discernment requires honesty. So, not just about others, but about ourselves, right? Listen, let's be clear. Red flags are patterns, not preferences. They are behaviors that consistently violate your values, boundaries, or safety. Red flags looks like disrespecting your boundaries repeatedly when you clearly express your limits and they continue to cross them. That's not misunderstanding, that's a lack of respect. Inconsistency paired with excuses. Their words don't match their actions, and there always a reason why they can't show up the way they promise. Y'all know gaslighting or minimizing your feelings. They make you question your reality, downplay your emotions, or make you feel too sensitive for expressing how you feel. Lack of accountability. They avoid taking responsibility, shift blame, y'all know, or refuse to acknowledge how their actions affect you. Control disguised as concern. You know, it sounds like protection or care, but it's really about limiting your choices, isolating you, or monitoring your behavior. Watch that. Red flags don't improve with time, they intensify. Your intuition warns you a lot. Your spirit feels uneasy. Your peace feels disrupted and disrespected, not challenged, but threatened. That's a red flag. Now, my question is, what's a red flag you wish you hadn't ignored in the past? For me, how they react in disagreements, and check the attitude. Now, let's talk about trauma responses because this is where things get a little tricky. Trauma responses are protective reactions developed during past pain. Examples of trauma responses, emotional shutdown, meaning going numb, disconnected, or unable to express your feelings. Hypervigilance, always on edge, over analyzing situations, expecting something to go wrong all the time. Avoidance, pulling away from people, pulling away from conversations or situations that feel triggered. People pleasing, stop that. Putting others first to avoid conflict or abandonment. Emotional reactivity, intense reactions to small situations. Difficulty trusting, assuming others will hurt, leave, or disappoint you, always bringing it up. Fear of closeness, wanting connection, but pulling away when it starts to feel real. You self blame or shame, believing the trauma was your fault, and also control behaviors, needing everything to be perfect to feel safe. They help you survive, but they may not help you connect. Trauma responses can look like shutting down when someone wants closeness, when intimacy feels unsafe. Your nervous system chooses protection over connection. Pulling away when things feel good, peace can feel unfamiliar, so you retreat before things have to have a chance to grow. Overthinking small chances in communication. A delayed text, I'm not texting them, or short response suddenly feels like rejection. Assuming abandonment before it even happens. Playing victim. You prepare for loss to protect yourself from being hurt again. Reading danger where there is uncertainty. Your mind fills in the gaps with fear because safety once felt unpredictable. These reactions don't mean you're broken, they mean you're adapted. But adaptation isn't always in alignment. Sometimes what we feel like intuition is actually fear in disguise. Have you ever realized your reaction was rooted in past hurt, not present situation? Yes, of course. Sometimes we don't realize until later that we weren't reacting to what was happening around us or in front of us, but to an old wound that never feels healed, fully healed. Awareness is often the first step toward responding with clarity instead of survival mode. Here's a grounding question: ask yourself, is this person showing me who they are, or am I reacting, listen, to who someone else was? Red flags feel consistent. Trauma responses feels familiar. Red flags threaten your safety. Trauma responses protect you even when protection isn't needed anymore. Discernment isn't about cutting people off quickly. It's about slowing down long enough to understand what you're responding to. Healing teaches you to pause instead of panic, to communicate instead of assuming, to ask questions instead of building walls. So here's today's truth. Not everything uncomfortable is unsafe. Not every trigger is a warning, and not every reaction means you're discerning. Healing, listen, healing helps you see clearly without fear or fantasy. When you learn the difference between red flags and trauma responses, you stop sabotaging connection and you stop tolerating harm. That's growth. Now, here's a question I need you to drop in the comments and also journal this question. What reactions do I need to explore before labeling something a red flag? And write this affirmation in your journal. I trust myself enough to pause, reflect, respond with clarity instead of fear. Thank you for staying in this conversation with me. Listen, healing isn't about ignoring red flags, but it is also not about living guarded forever. And if you're on a healing journey, support is available. My grief journal, My Heart Forgot to Tell You, is available on Amazon. My workbook, The Healing Pages, is available on Cassify.shop. You can always reach me at Embrace and Evolve with Cassie at gmail.com. And I see you in the next episode of Embrace and Evolve with Cassie.